Some people think the first real financial milestone is $100,000. Others say it is $1 million, because that is the number that sounds clean, impressive, and big enough to make strangers on the internet nod like you have officially escaped the ordinary world. But in real life, for a normal person with a normal job, normal bills, normal temptations, and normal moments of weakness, there is another number that changes everything much earlier. That number is $50,000, not because $50,000 makes you rich. It does not. It will not let you retire tomorrow. It will not buy freedom forever. But once you hit $50,000 and keep it, something changes. The math finally starts showing up. Before that, building wealth feels like dragging a heavy box up a hill with your bare hands. Every dollar saved feels personal. Every bill feels like an attack. Every emergency feels like it can erase months of discipline. But after $50,000, your money begins to develop weight. It begins to earn, protect, buffer, and multiply in ways that are small at first, then surprisingly meaningful. The math does not do everything, but it finally starts doing something. And that is the point where many people either become quietly wealthy over time or accidentally destroy the machine right after they built it. My name is Toby, and today we are talking about why $50,000 is one of the most underrated thresholds in personal finance, why it changes the way your money behaves, and why the most important thing you can do after reaching it is not to celebrate too hard, but to protect the momentum long enough for the math to take over. Imagine two people, same age, same city, same income, same basic life. The first one, Marcus, always has a little money and then somehow does not. He is not reckless in some dramatic movie way. He does not buy a sports car with a suitcase of cash. He does not lose everything in a casino. His money disappears through normal life. A car repair here, a dental bill there, a friend's birthday trip, a rent increase, a new phone because the old one was basically dying. Every choice sounds reasonable by itself, but together they keep him trapped in the starting zone. The second person, Daniel, finally gets to $50,000. It took years. It was boring. There were no viral investing wins, no crypto miracle, no dramatic transformation montage. He just kept saving, investing, and not touching the pile. At first, nothing visible changes. His apartment looks the same. His car looks the same. His clothes look the same. His coworkers do not suddenly respect him more. But financially, Daniel is no longer living in the same world as Marcus. Because Daniel has built a base and Marcus is still restarting. That difference is easy to underestimate because $50,000 does not look dramatic from the outside. But money does not need to look dramatic to become powerful. The first thing $50,000 does is reduce fragility. When you have $200 in your account and a $1,100 emergency appears, you can technically pay for it, but emotionally you are destroyed. You go from having a cushion to standing on the edge of the cliff. Your brain starts calculating what happens if another problem appears before the next paycheck. That panic changes how you make decisions. You take the bad payment plan. You keep the terrible job. You pay the higher price because you do not have time to compare. You put the bill on a credit card and tell yourself you will fix it later. But when you have $50,000, that same emergency is annoying, not life-changing. It still hurts. Nobody enjoys watching money leave, but it does not break your nervous system. And that matters more than people admit, because money decisions are not made by perfect spreadsheets. They are made by human brains under pressure. A calm person negotiates. A calm person waits. A calm person says no. A desperate person pays whatever makes the fear stop. This is why financial fragility is so expensive. It turns small problems into expensive problems. A flat tire becomes credit card interest. A late bill becomes fees. A missed paycheck becomes debt. So the first power of $50,000 is not that it makes you rich. It makes you harder to trap. Banks make less money from you. Lenders have less power over you. Buy now, pay later offers look less like rescue boats and more like tiny financial handcuffs. You start thinking differently. Instead of asking, can I make the monthly payment? You begin asking, is this actually worth my capital? That one question can change your life. The second thing $50,000 does is make compounding visible. People love to explain compound interest when someone has $500 invested, and technically they are right, but emotionally, it feels like a joke. If $500 grows by 8%, you made $40. That is nice, but it is not changing your life. If $50,000 grows by 8%, that is $4,000. Now the percentage has a body. Now the math feels real. Of course, markets do not move in straight lines. Some years will be bad. Some years will be flat. Some years will make you feel like a genius even though you did nothing but sit there. But the important point is that the base is finally large enough for normal percentages to create meaningful dollars. This is the part that makes wealthy people seem like they are playing a different game. A 10% return is always 10%, but 10% on $1,000 is a nice weekend. 10% on $50,000 is a serious contribution. 10% on $500,000 is more than many people earn from months of labor. The percentage did not change. The base changed. And $50,000 is often the first moment where a normal person can feel that shift. Before that, you are mostly building with effort. After that, effort starts working with a partner. Your savings are one engine. Growth becomes another engine. If you keep adding $500 a month, that is $6,000 a year from your own labor. But now your existing money may add thousands more in strong years. The first time your portfolio grows more than you personally contributed that month or year, something clicks. You realize money can become a worker. Not a magical worker, not a guaranteed worker, and definitely not a worker you should trust with no supervision. This is why capital matters. Income is active. Capital is persistent. Income stops when you stop working. Capital can keep moving in the background. And once your capital reaches a serious enough size, it starts changing your psychology. You stop feeling like every financial goal depends only on your next burst of discipline. You still need discipline, but you are no longer alone. The third thing $50,000 does is create leverage in your real life. Not the dangerous kind of leverage where someone borrows too much money and calls it strategy. I mean life leverage. Walking away power. Breathing room. The ability to say no without immediately panicking about rent. When you have no buffer, every opportunity feels risky. Moving for a better job costs money. Starting a small business costs money. Taking a lower paying role with better long-term upside costs money. Leaving a toxic workplace costs money. Even resting costs money, because if you stop moving for 1 second, the bills keep moving without you. But with $50,000, you have a pause button. You can wait for a better offer. You can refuse a terrible client. You can invest in training, tools, software, relocation, or a small experiment without begging a credit card to become your business partner. You are not invincible, but you are no longer negotiating from pure weakness. And that can increase your income over time. Financial stability creates career leverage. Career leverage can create higher income. Higher income can create more savings. More savings creates more stability. That loop is one of the quiet engines of wealth. But it usually starts when someone has enough money to stop making every decision from fear. Now here is where the danger begins. $50,000 is also the stage where people start feeling just successful enough to sabotage themselves. They look at the number and think, I worked hard. I deserve something. And honestly, they are not wrong. You do deserve to enjoy your life. You do deserve comfort. You do deserve a dinner that is not microwaved sadness in a plastic bowl. But there is a difference between rewarding yourself and taking a part of the machine right after it finally turns on. Someone saves $50,000 and suddenly a $35,000 car starts looking reasonable. Someone saves $50,000 and decides it is time for a luxury apartment. Someone saves $50,000 and books a huge vacation because you only live once. This is how people get stuck near the threshold. They reach the point where compounding could become meaningful, then convert the base into lifestyle. They do not fail because they never made progress. They fail because they spend the progress before it matures. That is why $50,000 should not be treated like a finish line. It is seed capital. It is the foundation. It is the part of the tree that has finally broken through the soil, but is not strong enough yet to survive someone dancing on it. Your first $50,000 is the same. It is visible progress, not permanent safety. The goal is to let it grow into something harder to destroy. This is where identity becomes more important than math. You have to become the kind of person who can have money without immediately needing to prove it. That sounds simple, but it is rare. A lot of people do not actually want wealth first. They want the feeling of being seen as wealthy, and that feeling is expensive. The car that signals success delays actual success. The apartment that impresses people delays investing. The wardrobe that makes you feel upgraded can downgrade your balance sheet. Every dollar can become either a worker or a trophy. Workers create more workers. Trophies create maintenance, insurance, storage, payments. At $50,000, you finally have enough money to choose which direction you are going. And people may not understand your choice. They may wonder why you still drive the same car, still live in the same place, still compare prices, still pack lunch, still act normal. Let them wonder. The goal is not to make your progress visible. The goal is to make it irreversible. There is a season where looking the same, while your balance sheet transforms, is the smartest financial move you can make. If you can keep your lifestyle mostly stable while going from $50,000 to $100,000, you have built a machine most people never build. One person upgrades at the first sign of money. The other upgrades after money has built more money. That timing difference is massive. Now, practically speaking, $50,000 should not all have the same job. Some of it may be cash for emergencies. Some may be invested. Some may be reserved for known expenses. The right split depends on your job stability, family, debt, country, risk tolerance, and goals. This is not personal financial advice, but the principle is simple. Do not confuse cash with investment capital, and do not confuse investment capital with spending money. Cash protects you. Investments grow. Planned savings prepare you. Spending money gives you controlled enjoyment. But money without a job gets recruited by impulse, and impulse is a terrible manager. One of the smartest things you can do at this stage is create rules before emotions arrive. Decide what counts as a real emergency before the vacation looks tempting. Decide how much of every raise gets invested before the raise hits your account. Decide that large purchases require a waiting period. Decide that your investment contributions happen automatically. These rules are not there because you are weak. They are there because you are human. And humans are very talented at explaining why this one exception is different. The problem is that wealth is rarely destroyed by one cartoonishly stupid decision. It is usually destroyed by reasonable exceptions stacked on top of each other. One upgrade, one trip, one financed purchase, one skipped contribution. One, I will restart next month. Then next month becomes next year. The machine slows down before it ever reaches full speed. Automation helps because it removes your mood from the process. Automatic transfers. Automatic investing. Separate accounts. The less your future depends on daily motivation, the better. Motivation is dramatic, but systems are boring in the best possible way. And wealth loves boring. Another shift that happens at $50,000 is your relationship with time. When you are broke, time feels like an enemy. You need money now. You need relief now. You need the problem solved before the next bill arrives. But when you have a base, time becomes an ally. You can wait for investments to recover. You can plan purchases instead of reacting. You can let opportunities come to you instead of grabbing the first option that appears. This is why patience looks like a rich person trait. It is easier to be patient when you are not desperate. But patience also helps create wealth in the first place. At $50,000, not touching the money becomes an action. Waiting is an action. Holding is an action. Saying not yet is an action. Because the math does not need excitement. It needs capital, time, consistency, and low friction. That is it. Most people overcomplicate wealth because complicated feels smart. They think they need secret investments, perfect timing, or some once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But once you have a real base, avoiding mistakes becomes more important than finding miracles. Do not take high-interest debt. Do not panic sell because headlines are scary. Do not pay huge fees for things you do not understand. Do not gamble the foundation on something promising to make you rich by next Tuesday. At $50,000, defense matters because there is finally something meaningful to defend. Go back to Marcus and Daniel. Marcus is not lazy. He works. He tries. He has good months. But every time money starts gathering, he breaks the pile apart. He keeps restarting. And because he keeps restarting, he never experiences the stage where money begins helping him. Daniel does not do anything flashy. He protects the first $50,000. He keeps contributing. He does not upgrade everything just because he can. He lets the account look boring. And slowly the distance between them grows. Not because Daniel is a genius, and not because Marcus is doomed. One of them let the math start. The other kept resetting the equation. That is the real lesson. The math cannot do the rest if you keep interrupting it. The first $50,000 is where you prove you can stop resetting. If you are not there yet, do not feel behind. The early stage is supposed to feel heavy because your money is not helping much yet. You are building the base by hand. Every dollar you keep is a brick in the foundation. But if you are already near $50,000, understand what you are holding. It is not permission to relax completely. It is a machine that is just turned on. Protect it. Feed it. Do not dismantle it for applause. Do not let people with no plan shame you out of yours. Once you hit $50,000, the math really can begin doing more of the work. But only if you let it. Wealth usually does not arrive as one dramatic moment. It arrives as a series of quiet thresholds. One day, bills stop terrifying you. One day, your investments earn more than you expected. One day, a job loss would hurt, but not destroy you. One day, you realize you have options. And options are what money is really buying. The option to wait. The option to leave. The option to say no. The option to choose calmly. That is what the first $50,000 begins to create. So, build it carefully, guard it quietly, and let the math work long enough to prove why the boring path was never actually boring at all.